Good evening, and welcome to another dreary episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. And now here's your droopy and draggle-tailed host, Voice of Doom. I would just like to say that it is my conviction that longer hair and other flamboyant affectations of appearance are nothing more than the male's emergence from his drab camouflage into the gaudy plumage that is the birthright of his sex. There is a peculiar notion that elegant plumage and fine feathers are not proper for the male, but actually, that is the way things are in most species. Thought I'd sing a little song from the past that I remember from heart, because when I was about 8 years old, well, maybe 9, my parents bought me the cassette tape to the musical Hair, and I listened to it every day and memorized it. It was a musical in the late 60s that most of these wokesters would have loved it. But it explains a lot. It's a good musical. It's really good. You should watch it when you get a chance. It's from the long distance past when the hippies were taking over. Kind of like the Visigoths. I didn't want to get back into this subject. I really didn't, but I saw stuff on the internet, YouTube, and I'm getting kind of tired of this issue becoming such a major part of why we're at each other's throats. So I'm going to try to wrap up everything once and for all and explain everything. I'm going to tell you what I've already said. I'm going to try to say it succinctly. Now, Michael Knowles, I saw, I guess he did a speech about what they call transgenderism, which is now a political theory that somehow got entwined into our current dilemma. And I think I know the reason why, and I don't think anybody would ever understand it, because the people that are trying to make a big issue out of this are not the people that are really transgendered. And just like Buffalo Springfield said, I repeat it over and over again, Stephen Stills is a genius. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong. There is truth in everything. And I watched the Michael Knowles and I was a bit miffed. And at the same time, I pretty much agree with everything he says. It's just that he doesn't understand anything. So when I agree with him, it's like, well, all right. But, all right. Now, let me explain something. In 1965, nobody talked about anything. I already told you this. And I knew how I felt. Okay. I feel a certain way, I know I'm another way. That's obvious. Not only that, but I knew very early that I wasn't somebody who was going to want to be with boys in that intimate sense. I knew it in my heart, but I also knew that I felt a certain way. Okay. So this is what people have to understand, and they keep saying, oh, gender and sex. It's not gender and sex. It's gender and sexuality. It's a big difference. Big difference. Because you can feel one way and still feel another way. You feel attracted to a certain kind of person and you still feel a certain way, and that's just the way it is. And they all say, well, it's okay if people want to live their life and do what they want. Just don't foist it on us and try to win trophies. And I agree with that. And I've already told you that. But I will also say that I knew what I was feeling long before I knew that it even existed. And I thought I was alone on the planet. And when you're 5 or 6 years old, you feel like you're alone. It's lonely. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not drinking shots of Fireball today. I have 2 shots actually. Because besides my obviously gender dysphoria, I have other problems having to do with gambling. And I win, and then I think I'm going to win more, and then I lose. And money means nothing to me at this point because I know that what's happening, what's going to happen. So money has no meaning. But let's get back to this transgender thing so I can put it to bed. Now, a lot of the things I've seen in the last day or two show that as each generation has gone by, the number of people that claim to be part of the LGBTQRSTUVUWXYZ community, it's gone up dramatically over the last, and they call them generations. They're not really generations, but the boomers, it's like 1 to 2%, and the Xers are more like 4, and then the millennials are like 10, and now the Z generation is 20. And they say that's not statistically possible unless they're doing something, and I'll tell you they're probably doing both. First of all, they were lying in the beginning. There were way more gay people that were boomers and before that than they want to let on. And I know all about that, so don't even try to tell me about things, because my dad was gay, and he was fully gay, and he was he had to follow the dictates of society. His brothers and sisters all got married and had kids, and he was going to get married and had kids, and he met my mom in high school, and they had a rapport, and they got married, and I was born, and my brother was born, and my sister. And he stuck with it. And by today's standards, it would have been, well, I see my dad on weekends because he's got a different lifestyle. It wasn't like that. He stuck with it. And I know that there was more in the boomers, and before that, there's way more. It doesn't mean there was 20%, but I think as you become more and more accepting and more, having different categories, which is getting annoying because there's how many people on the planet? 8 billion? There's 8 billion categories, okay? Why don't you look at it that way? Some people want to look this way, some people don't want to be this way, some people don't want to, they're so easy. I can't explain it. There's a continuum of personalities in everybody. And we have the traits we have, and what they'll discover one day that there are different things that happen in conception, in development, and they will discover why people act the way they do. But right now we know nothing. So let's go with that premise, because as far as mental health goes, nobody knows anything. But I wanted to try to explain that there's a certain amount of sometimes I feel superior to other people because I had my cake and I ate it too. And I realized that if the human race had evolved in a way that valued life over power or riches, then we wouldn't have had to be the way we are. Now let me explain it to you by going back to the Neanderthal times, primordial. There were tigers, there were bears, there was danger. Women, and I say women in the proper sense, that bear children, they had to protect the young in order to survive, and the men who procreated and helped and might even have a family unit have to protect. Okay, that's fine, that's great, and they evolve that way. Men get bigger hands, they get stronger, they have to go out, they have to get a carcass somewhere and drag it back. That's the way it goes. But, like the song said, if you value life more, then the male has to attract the female, not the other way around. You don't have the male that has his pigs behind a fence somewhere and he looks like he has enough to protect me and keep me safe. No, the male has to attract the female through color. Look at your frickin' biology. Do I have to explain it to you? In almost every single animal kingdom, throughout all the kingdoms and the fiefdoms, the male's always more colorful. The peacock, the fish, almost everything. The males attract the females through their appearance. And so I can rationalize my behavior because I've done everything. I've gotten married, I've had 2 kids, and I raised them, and they're good kids. They're good people, and they're going to accomplish a lot on this planet. So I have no regrets. And if I want to look a certain way once in a while, it's just because I like it. And if you have a certain personality that says, I'm a female because I want to be with guys, and that's why transgenderism is getting bigger, is because more people that are gay are deciding to become women instead of just being gay, because like, oh, 2 men together, all right, that's fine. But you still can't have public displays, PDA. You just can't do it. I mean, people are uncomfortable, even to this day. You see a couple men kissing on the street. It's just not, women, yeah, all right, because even men get off on that. All right, that's sexuality, and what, the clothing can get you off. You can get off on feet. You can get off on all kinds of weird things. And it's all weird until you accept everybody, and then it's not weird. Men who want to be babies. Come on. That's going to be a hard road to hoe. So, I'm trying to explain why he's right. I've already told you about the sports. That's just not fair. But to try to foist things on people, be enough if you could just say, I want to look this way when I'm at work. I'm not a female. And believe me, there's one thing I'll never do is try to say I'm a female, because I've seen childbirth up close, really, really close. And it's painful and it's bloody and there's guts all over the place. I don't know how we've survived as a species because women seem to do it. Now, I know if you're younger, it's much easier, but my wife had my first child when she was around in her mid-30s, and my second in her late 30s, and it was a harrowing thing. It's bloody. It's painful. I don't want to do it. So I would never, ever presume to be a woman. Never. But if I want to look like this, so what? It's because I want to stick out. I want to, It's whatever. It's frisson. It's the softness. It's just feeling it. And I think I had answered his soliloquy rather well. I didn't really say as much as I could, but I think I got most of it in there. It's just something to think about. I mean, I don't want to see any politicization where everybody's at each other's throats. And I don't believe in trying to make little kids try to decide what they want to be when they're 5. I wouldn't have wanted that. I mean, it would have been like, oh my God, you're saying I can do what I want? That's not going to work out that way. You don't just go home and put a dress on and pigtails and come back and say, this is how I am from now on. Well, they'll accept it eventually, but you'd always be ostracized. You'd always be, the girls would be like, and the guys would be like, oh my God. And I was precocious in elementary school. I had a girlfriend in 4th grade. And I guess the guys probably thought I was just one of the girls, but I wasn't, because I really liked her. She had a mini skirt on and everything. So that's how my life went. I knew about it before anybody else did. And I could tell you that it's really real. People's feelings are real. And let them do with them what they will. I don't think it should be promoted. I think that's another kind of a diabolical scheme from other people that want to blur social mores. They don't really want people to have kids anymore. That's the bottom line. So if you make people ambiguous and anybody's with anybody and whatever, then the family structure and people having kids breaks down. So this is going too long. I think I said enough, and I think I said a lot, but maybe I didn't. I didn't put on much makeup because I didn't feel like it. Enjoy the night, everybody. I hope you got a little something out of this. I don't know what I'm going to call it. All right. Goodbye.